I am super excited. We have a guest artist today, Melissa DeLaCruz. Melissa, these are going to be some of my favorite nails. I already know it because
awesome.
This design you've done several times on your Instagram, and I love it. What are you doing today?
Today I'm going to do some Kaleidoscope nails. Super dimensional, lots of color, super fun.
Let's get started.
Today I'm going to show you how to do Kaleidoscope dimensional nails. I'm working on her nails that have grown out about 3 to 5 weeks, so let's get started. As you can see, when I push it back, it turns white. It shows you where your protein growth is. If you do not use this, it looks like there's nothing there, and a lot of times you end up getting lifting. So I never skip this step. Then I'm going to use my toenail clippers just to clip these off. Then I'm going to use my coarse safety bit. I'm going to remove all gel polish or glitter that's on top.
Mel, I have a question actually.
Yep.
I'm going to interrupt during this. Sorry. How much pressure are you putting down? Is there like a huge difference? Because I know these are acrylic and this one's a gel. Is there different pressures?
There's a huge difference. I put slight more pressure on acrylic and use a circular motion to bring it down. With gel, I use the same motion but with not as much pressure. So you kind of have to know if they're acrylic or gel. If you electric file on gel the way you electric file acrylic, you'll go through the gel really fast. So with acrylic, you have to use a little more pressure. So you kind of need to know if you're working on somebody else's work, if it's gel or acrylic. Next one, circular motion. You could also shorten it a little. And when I shorten, I use usually zone 2 and just push and glide. So I push a little glide, push a little glide, push a little glide. So I want to take as much off as I can because I'm going to do 3 dimensions in a roll. So this is exactly how I work in salon. I take all the product down first. So as you can see when I start getting closer, you could kind of see like her natural nails starting to come through. I won't hit those spots again. I'll go to all the other spots where you could still see more color. Then I'll kind of tickle it off. So you kind of change your motion as you get closer to the natural nail. I like to take all my natural nail off so you could see your design from underneath and on top if you'd like. Now this one's a gel, so I'm going to still do the same movement, but I'm not going to use as much pressure. So again, I'll do circular motion. And as you can see, this comes down a lot faster than your acrylic nail. It's a little bit of a softer product, has some flexibility to it. I love working with gel. I like acrylic too, but gel's really, I think, faster for me in salon because it drills off so fast, and I do a lot of dimensions in salons, so it really makes a difference for me to change it out really fast. So as you can see how I'm getting closer. This is where I get the most questions right here. Right here, people are afraid and they start going really slow. Go ahead and keep your movement if there's still color you could see there. Little circular motion, and as you can see more of the nail, you tickle it. And it takes all the remainder off. Go ahead and shorten your nail.
How long would you say, like, if you weren't, it takes longer when you're teaching, right? But
yeah,
like if you were just doing this on a client, how long would it take you to like just remove everything?
From start to finish, no longer than 10 minutes, depending on what they're doing. If they're not changing dimensions, I could do it in less than 5 for sure. When they're changing dimensions like I'm doing now, she actually had nails right here.
So like if you have to shave down.
So the most 10 max. And the least is probably 3 to 4, taking everything off, depending on what design you're doing.
Let me ask you about, because you clipped my nails, right?
Yes.
What if I'm one of those clients like, no, I want to leave my natural nail?
Okay, you can. So you could take it down to what I call like a shell of a nail.
Okay.
So I'll leave your length and I'll do the same movement. I kind of brace her finger right here.
That's important, right? The
It's
bracing.
very important.
Otherwise, it feels like you're putting all kinds of pressure on them.
It actually hurts them if you don't put it on there. You could lightly do it and it won't hurt them, but when you're taking down bulk, you have to brace the fingernail. Again, circular motion, noticing I am not in the same spot. That's why it's not burning her.
How important is having sharp bits then?
Oh my gosh. Having sharp bits is so important. If I use acrylic, I'll go through 1 to 2 of these in a week because I like them so sharp. Because what it does is it doesn't create heat when it's really sharp, and you get your job done a lot faster. So it's still sharp. Like if I use it say a half a week and it's starting to dull a little, I use it with gel because it stays sharper with gel a long time. I find when you use acrylic, it tends to dull faster. So a lot of people, I mean, when I teach, they say, well, that's expensive buying a new drill bit every week or 2 every week. Actually, I make probably like $60 more a day than I would not having a dull one, because then I'm burning them. I'm like, oh, I gotta wait, and it's taking me longer to get down as far as I need to get down.
So time is money.
Time is, for me it is, because I try to get the max people in I could in a day, and not have to work every day, every week, unless I decide to. Okay, so that's down, and we'll get real close to it, and it's actually paper thin. Like, it's super thin. If she hit it, she probably would break it, but it's not, it's just her extension. It's not there for strength.
Let me ask you, because you just took like the bulk down on these. When you're taking bulk down, what typically, like the RPMs, we get asked a lot, what RPMs are you working on?
Okay, when you're taking down bulk, like I did here, I work from 12 to 15, maybe even 16, but I'm not staying in one spot, so it'll never burn them. Right. The reason why I say 12 to 16, some are more comfortable at 12, some are more comfortable at 16. They're all accurate. It just depends on what you're comfortable with. So start at 12 if you feel like you could go a little faster, then work your way up to your speed, but you don't need higher than that. The main reason why I clipped these ones off is it had dimension there already. You could do this with something that has a dimension already. You just don't want color left behind, so you see a different color underneath. So I'm going to change my drill bit to a medium arbor band. Now I'm going to prep her natural nail and the rest of her artificial. I like to start with baby circles around the cuticle area and kind of tickle all the way through after that. Just making sure I'm getting it as close as I can to the cuticle. Sometimes this bit, if they have really deep sidewalls, are really hard to get into. Don't force it. I'm going to show you another bit that works really well. And I use it probably on 75% of my clientele because most people have deep pockets on the side. And a lot of times people ask, why am I getting lifting? I'm prepping the way you teach us to prep. Really, it's getting all the way in there to where your sidewall and your cuticle start. So meaning all the way here on your sidewall or all the way back to the cuticle. A lot of times when people prep, I'll show you real quick, they think that's close enough. You still see the white? They're afraid to butt it up to the cuticle. It's not going to hurt if you butt this part up to your cuticle because you've seasoned it. If you season it, for sure, it's not going to cut. So try to get back as close as you can. Doing baby circles, if you notice I kind of hit it and drag it, I don't go near like really fast.
I don't feel it at all.
You really don't feel it. It actually feels quite good when you, I like this part when I do my nails. Now I switch to our little square cuticle bit. It's a diamond cut. It's really tiny, so you're able to get in the corners to remove the rest of your protein growth, which is really important. This is what would cause lifting right here. There was not enough room for this bit to get in there without probably causing heat. So I'm going to use it in about between 4 to 6 RPMs. Whatever you're comfortable with, no higher than 6 because it could cause heat on the natural nail. So what I'm going to do is, sometimes I kind of touch their skin right here because it's really dry. That does not hurt them, but you could see everything coming out already just by barely putting pressure. Really all I'm doing is making contact. I'm really not putting pressure. I'm doing little baby circles around the cuticle area. I'll start here. I always like to get some of their skin because it gives it, if it's really dry. If it's not dry there, I don't do that obviously, but a lot of people depending on, especially with sanitation these days, I've noticed even mine get dry on the side. I tend to use this more on their skin.
Do you typically use this every time you do a client, or just
9 times out of 10?
9.
Pretty much. I also use it sometimes after I build the nail, and I'll show you that after, because sometimes there may be a little piece of gel or acrylic in a corner that you really don't want to use like a more abrasive bit. This will just take it right off. So you could use it for prep and finish. Light pressure, just going around the cuticle area. And then I'll swipe it to kind of show you all the white is gone. There's one other thing I do when I form a nail. When you look really close at her nails right here, you could see how they're a little white in spots, which is normal. I like to, no matter what shape I'm going to do, bring it in. So that way my sidewall will be clear and I could pinch it as much as I want. I could put my acrylic or gel wherever I want it, and I'm not going to have to feel like I need to make it wider to meet my sidewall of my nail. So it's just a little trick I do. Wipe that one more time. And from here I'm ready to roll. When I empty our dust extractor, I take it out and do this. Then that way dust doesn't get everywhere. It all comes out right there. It just helps me create a dust-free environment. So now I'm going to protein bond the natural nail and the entire nail. I go through with one coat, usually on all 10, and then come through and do a second coat.
Does it matter how much protein bond? Can you put too much protein bond, I guess?
Well, in a sense you can. Because protein bond doesn't burn, I feel like people tend to oversaturate the nail with it, thinking it will cause no lifting. It could actually cause lifting if you over protein bond, and I mean like a well around your cuticle right here. If you have a well around your cuticle here of protein bond, your product's not ever going to be able to weave into the natural nail and hold on. So it really just needs to be wet and covered. That's it. So you'll see when I come through again, I don't put it down here on the artificial nail anymore because I already have enough. I put 2 coats on the exposed nail because you have to protein bond 2 coats, so it ensures that their nails won't lift. 1 coat will work on some people, but I don't want to find out who it works on and who it doesn't. It's usually people with thicker nails. I put 2 always, no matter the client. So right now, I'm mainly going to focus on my dimension on my pointer nail. So I'm going to put her form on, and I'll keep her shape. We'll do coffin. Pre-pinch. You don't have to pre-pinch. It's just kind of fast for me. Relax your finger. See, that's a perfect example. I had to tell her relax because if she could see it, I can't. That's what I tell my clients all the time, but it's natural to do that. So I usually tell them to look somewhere else, not at the nail.
That's what I have to do. I have to look away.
I do too, because you naturally want to go there with it. So I think these are about to there. So I'm going to build these in gel. So I'm going to start with clear Sculptor. I like to put my product in front of my brush and then kind of push it over to the left, always keeping my product in front of my brush at all times. It makes it easier to move around. Then I'm going to bring it down lightly, like really light strokes to as far as I want the nail, as long as I want the nail, I should say. Now the cool thing about clear Sculptor is it doesn't move when you put it on there. It's going to stay where I put it. What a lot of questions I get are, will base work? You could build with anything on your extension. I just prefer clear Sculptor when I'm going to do clear because I could literally do all 10 and they won't move on me. Whereas if I use like a base or another like build pink or build, it's going to self-level by the time I get to the 3rd nail. So I like to wipe my brush. This is kind of a cool trick right here. I like to wipe my brush to where it's flat, and then I use one side to wipe it from my free edge to the end of the nail. So then that way I don't have any cleanup. So now she'll go under the light for 30 seconds, or however long it takes you to do the other hand. So now I'm going to use base. I'm going to base from cuticle to free edge, so it ensures that it will hold on to my little extension. Now, if you look really closely right here, it's kind of a little lower. It's fine. What I do is I'll take my base and I'll just touch it right there to fill it in.
So there's like a ledge?
It's like a little ledge. So I'm filling it in so it'll be like flat when I work on it. So now I'm gonna cure that for 30 seconds on low power. On low power, it will say low heat mode on the lamp. I usually turn it on for them with base because when they go in by themselves, it starts on higher power. So I have the habit of just starting it for them while I'm working with the base. So when I'm removing the form, I like to bring my little tab out a little so I can see how far it'll come down. Then it allows me to see where I could separate the form from my thin extension of my gel. I usually just use my fingernails. It's easier for me, but not everybody has long nails like this. So either or works. So from here, I am going to take my black mission control, overdrive, and I'm gonna start creating my dimension. So when I start with like a solid color, it's gonna create like a flat look, and then I'll start adding from there. I may do it in layers, so then that way you could see how I create like to be able to really look deep inside a nail, to look like it's really like kind of like a kaleidoscope in a way. So I'm going to take a little bit of my gel, work really slow around the cuticle area. I'm gonna kind of put it anywhere I want, just kind of use my imagination. I'm going to leave some negative spacing, like some clear. So I'll just leave it like this for now. She'll go under for 30 seconds to cure. These are the colors I'm going to put in the nail. When I'm trying to get a really good dimension, what I like to do is use different sizes of glitter. So ice is like little slivers, so it's going to give a sliver reflection. Star Sand's more of a bigger chunk, so it's going to give like a iridescent opal reflection. Right here is Diamond Dust. Diamond Dust gives like kind of like a really fine glitter, so when you combine those three, you're already going to create a dimension when you're looking inside the nail. Foil is going to create like more of a metal look, which will make it look like it's a little deeper, and these will look more float, like they're floating. The mylars will look like glass. The mylars I'm using is blueberry and raspberry. I'm going to use an In Love confetti. I'm going to cut it in the middle of the heart. I'm going to break this heart, sorry, just because I want the reflection of more like not necessarily a heart in there. And Moody is one of my favorites. So I'm going to use base gel through the process. You could also use clear Sculptor, whatever one you like to work with. I like base because it's a little thinner than clear Sculptor, so that's why I choose base. So I am going to base the nail from cuticle to free edge. You put a good amount, but not so much that it's going to drip. Just enough that the glitter could hold on to and the mylar could hold on to. I seriously use the inside of the gel usually, and I touch it a little so I could pick up little pieces if I need to. First, I'm going to do my glitter. So I'm going to start with my biggest pieces, because if I don't start with my biggest pieces and I go to a really fine glitter, there's going to be nothing to hold on to my big pieces. So if you start bigger and go smaller, then you'll get that dimension that you're wanting in. So I'll tap it with my little brush, lightly kind of touch it, slightly put it over the black just a little bit. Then I'm going to go into my ice. If you want to move something, I kind of want to show a little more black there. It's wet, it's not cured yet, so you could move your glitter wherever you want it. Ice on black kind of gives like a little purpley bluish, kind of lavender glow. It's really pretty on the nail. So once I have it like this, so you could kind of see through it, kind of reflective, I'm going to go to my Diamond Dust and I'm going to go in between the negative space while there's clear still. So if you look real close, you could see that when I move it, it already has facets and kind of like a dimension already. So I'm going to go under the light for about 30 seconds. When it comes out of the light, I'm going to put another layer of base on. And as you could see, the nail is very, very thin still, like There's no strength to it. And that's the secret to a dimension, keeping it as thin as you can as you add. Because I find what happens is people tend to build it too thick and they have it beautiful and they go to file it and it's all filing out, or they end up leaving the nail too thick because they didn't put it in enough. So that's really the key to it. So I'm going to take random little pieces and I'll overlap it over the clear and the black, so you kind of get a different reflection of a color. Let's see, let's take a Moody, put it in random spots. I'll put it in clear. Maybe I'll put a Moody like right here. Now I'm going to use my mylar. I like to overlap my mylar too on the dark and the clear, so it looks like I'm using two different colors, but it's really one. So if you put it on a dark color and like a see-through color, the same color mylar, it's going to reflect two different colors. I like to find certain pieces. This is more of a custom nail, so of course when you're doing a custom nail like this, they're paying extra. It does take a little bit more time. And this doesn't have to lay totally flat. You'll notice when I'm working, I kind of move my hand a little to see where I want to add something. I could see the reflection of it. So I move her fingers to see where the facets of the lights are going to be. And that's a really cool piece right there. I don't charge like just a flat price for a dimension. It's not, usually it starts at $10.
Per nail?
Per nail.
Per nail.
And the reason being, you could see the work put into it. This right here is a little more custom. It's just not glitter dimension. When I sprinkle glitter in, it's $10 usually, because it's just the glitter that's going to cause a dimension. But when I start customizing and cutting and adding custom colors, the price does go up a little. But the cool thing is they could keep their nails for a while and I could fill them in. They could keep it going. So that's the cool thing about spending the money on your nail the first time and wearing it a couple times after that. It's pretty cool. So right now, when you look real close, you'll see when I turn it sideways, some pieces are sticking up kind of high. I want that. I don't want them all really flat, but I do want them to be touching the gel so it will hold on to it. The reason why I like it different directions is that's what makes the nail facet from everywhere. If you put everything flat, it's gonna glow pretty much all one color. If you have it different ways, then it's gonna have multiple colors. And it actually looks like I put more colors in her nail than I actually did. I did 4 colors, 4 different products, and it looks like I put like 6 or 7. So now I'm gonna cure it for 30 seconds. I'm gonna add one more thing. I'm gonna add gold. And I don't wanna use a lot of it. I just want it for an accent. So let's take a little bit out. Of course, once you touch foil, it wants to stick with you all day. So I think I'm gonna add a little more base just in case I wanna put it over a mylar so it will stick. So I kind of randomly just put it on, get it wet. See, it kind of just puts like a little gold nugget in there. I don't wanna overpower it. I just want little pieces of it in spots. And it's really hard to see as I do it. This is a question I get a lot too. They ask me, they're like, it's a mess. It looks like a disaster. I messed up. I never finished it because it looks like it's not pretty. The process isn't pretty. The process sometimes isn't pretty. It's when you finish filing it. So you kind of have to picture what it's gonna look like when you're filing it. When I'm working on my clients and they're new, they're like, I don't like thick nails, or that looks crooked. It's really not. It's just the way the product's kind of offset. I'm like, I don't either. Trust the process. It's gonna be pretty at the end. Now my next thing I'm gonna do, she doesn't need to go under the light because it's sticking in little spots everywhere I kind of want it. Now I'm going to use Fizz and Build. So I'm gonna create kind of like a milky white. This would be, you would have a little left over with this amount if I was doing 6 dimension nails. If I was just doing 1 nail, I literally would get that much. So this is like about for 6. I may have a little left over, but that's fine. I'd rather have a little left over than having to mix it again. I don't want to overpower it, so I'm going to use like barely dip it in the Fizz and start mixing it. So I want this to be a milky white. So I'd rather add than overpower it at first. I'm going to add just a tad bit more. Just the tip of your mixer, really, just a little bit, not a whole lot. The white goes a long way. So how could you tell if it's milky? you could kind of see it milky on your spatula. So that's gonna be one color I'm using. Then I'm going to use my micro detailer with Fizz by itself. So what I'm gonna do is kind of create like a smoky look. Let me clean my brush. See, I'm cleaning my brush on my tile. There was a little black left on it. So what I wanna do is like negative space with a smoky look. So I'm gonna take a little bit of my cloudy white, and I'm gonna kind of come through here, and I'm gonna kind of like wiggle my brush and kind of just put it wherever organically it lays. I'm not trying to make it perfect.
And every nail would be kind of different, right? You wouldn't try to match every single nail.
No, that's the key to it. Like you'll see when I finish the others, I'll have it in different spots. So it kind of flows. So what I'm gonna do now is put a little bit of Fizz on here. I like to use my fingernail as my palette sometimes. I'm going to come in here and hold my brush kind of straight up and kind of wiggle it in. So I don't want a thick line, I kind of just want like an illusion of a line. I'm kind of giving it a stone effect here. Like when you look at a stone and you see it cloudy in some spots and really shiny in others. And I'll show you really close once I'm done outlining. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of outlining the cloudy part that I had put on, the cloudy gel that I put on. And it's not cured. You put it in uncured, so it'll kind of melt into it. So again, I'm gonna move it and see if I wanna add some more. Maybe I'll add a little stream here. So now I'm going to, while she's curing, take out my Build Pink. This is kind of something that I stumbled across on accident. I was out of build and I had Build Pink, and I encapsulated with Build Pink, and I realized that it brought out the colors more, and it was super shiny and like glass effect. So a lot of people don't know why my nails look so glass. It's pretty much Build Pink. Even if I don't want pink to show in there, the pink kind of disappears and it just looks like glass. Whereas sometimes if you use Build on a lighter color, it may tend to look a little yellow at first, and of course it turns to clear eventually. Build Pink doesn't do that. So that's why I love Build Pink. So as you can see, Build Pink kind of has a little pink glow to it.
I love this tip because it really makes a huge difference. You're the one that actually showed me this, and I've noticed a lot more people are doing it, and the dimension's insane.
The clarity is, right? Yeah. I don't know what it is. It must cancel out. I mean, sometimes some gel may tend to look a little yellow at first, but within an hour it's clear. This doesn't do that at all.
Yeah, and I think the pink just intensifies the color.
It does. Tinge. It makes them more bold. Another thing is make sure you build enough in the middle. I feel like, and if you have to do it in two, it's fine. The longer the nail, man, I do some long nails. Sometimes I have to go like 3 times in. So now she'll go under the light. I don't know if there's enough. All I know it's everywhere it's supposed to be. So I rather have her go under the light and then work on the other nail and start encapsulating it with my Build Pink. So that way it doesn't flood her cuticle. After I cap all of them with Build Pink, from there, I'm going to look at them from the side, and if I see I need to add at her stress points, I'll add on them and then final cure her. When she comes back out, I'll look at it sideways, and as you can see, this is a perfect example. Okay, so right here you could see it's kind of, I need more of her arch here and more of her strength there. So I look at it sideways, and then I come in with my build, and this is where my client says, I don't like thick nails. Don't worry, it files very easy. I rather there be more product than not enough, to tell you the truth, because nothing's worse than after you're filing, you have to stop and re-add. And you know, if your client's nails break, they're probably not going to come back. Your nail could be a little off, a little crooked. You could be missing a spot of color somewhere, but your nails stay on, they're going to come back to you. Nothing's worse than a broken nail, pretty much. Okay, so that's going to cure out 60 seconds. So I'm going to use swipe all 10. So from here, I'm going to file off camera, and I'll come back with the top coat. Now I've completed her set, and I'm going to put stain resistant top coat. It's my favorite top coat to use because it ensures that they won't stain. I like the wearability of it too. They look as shiny when they come back as when they left my table. under the light for 1 minute. Now I'm going to take swipe and swipe all 10 fingers.
I knew I would. What if I was like, I hate them?
I'd be like, they'll grow on you. Don't worry. Give it a day.
What I need to know is, am I taking a small loan out for these? Do you accept credit cards? How much are these going to cost?
Well, let me break it down real quick. I'm going to start at a rebalanced price because we rebalanced your nails from 3 to 4 weeks. So that length would be $80 starting. That shape would be $10 added on. So that would start from $90. Let me see what I put on here. $90.
I gotta check
90,
this.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50. $195.
$195 actually?
But the cool thing is when they grow out, you could fill them in and you could keep your design going. They could spend a lot at first and wear it through the season and then change them out every season. But they get addicted. They usually change them out every time.
I'm telling you, like, I'm obsessed. I'm pretty sure I might get in an accident on the way home because I'm gonna be staring at my nails. So $195, not too bad.
No, not bad.
I think it's a great deal, and I love that the fact that you tell your clients, right?
They know.
You can change them up. We can keep going with this set. You use it as a base and just keep on adding.
Yeah, you could add color in when you fill them. There's a lot you could add to it, so it's worth it. You'll enjoy it through the whole season.
Well, thank you, Melissa. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was fun.
Hopefully she'll come back soon.
For sure.
Thank you so much for watching our nail videos. To check out more, head right over here, and to subscribe to our channel, click right over here.